What's going on, everybody? This is Chris Classic dropping a car live and a show review for the 11th hour. I'm gonna wait for some more people to get in. I do apologize. This was supposed to happen a few days ago, but stuff with time and trying to get stuff together to speak about it, it just didn't fall through. So it's supposed to happen yesterday, didn't happen yesterday, so it's going to happen today. Make sure you remember that God loves you, Christ loves you, and I love you as well. I'm praying for you guys. Hopefully you guys are praying for me. Make sure you subscribe to the Take It Home podcast, where I talk about professional wrestling topics and I put up my matches as Classic Alpha, a professional wrestler of 13 years. Make sure you also subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling. That is me and my wife's professional wrestling company that we have gotten back 100% last weekend, August 30th at the 11th hour, which is what we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about the show. All right. When the next show come up, we will have the details and everything like that, and where to get tickets and who's going to be involved. So, Dyer, Indiana, Harold's Private Venue. We were back there again. Wonderful crowd, wonderful venue. Shout out to Miss Kelly of Harold's Private Venue in Dyer, Indiana. Great venue, great place, great atmosphere. That venue is the place where we get the most gratitude. A lot of people love that it's there. What's up, Raphael? A lot of people love the venue. I remember when we did the first show, Enter the Limelight. A lot of people was like, this is a great venue. I didn't know that this venue was here. So, the board, they did their thing with that venue. So a lot of people love the venue. They said that they love that it's small, it's secluded. They feel like they're close to the action. You can also get chicken. There's other things that's around the area. So a lot of people have said great things. Nothing against Gene Shepard and Hammond. Nothing against On the Square Sports Academy and Crown Point. But Harold's Private Venue has been the spot where a lot of people have been showing gratitude and love being there. Yeah, shout out to you shooting from the script. What up, Yellow? Yeah, what a weekend. But great show, great crowd. Crowd came in, bought food, had fun. They had a raffle that was produced by Yella and DJ Dose. They gave away backpacks, they gave away tickets. Gift cards to Harold's Private Venue. I should have probably went for that, but it just didn't work like that. But great show. First match was a triple threat. It was supposed to be a scramble, but things happened. Triple threat was Gustavo versus TDG and Jay Leon. Oops, excuse me, it's Jay Leon. We've been saying it the wrong way. It's an accent on the either the E or the O. It's an accent there, so it's Jay Leon. It's not Jay Leon. It's Jay Leon. It's Leon, like that. It's an accent. What's going on, Zara? It's definitely an accent, but still. Gustavo, this is his debut in C3. TDG and Jay Leon, they have a beef from the Best of the Midwest match that happened at Press Start 3. Yeah, you've been saying it right, yo. I've been saying Jay Leon, but it's Jay Leon. But anyway, Jay Leon and TDG, they've been having a beef, somewhat of a rivalry, since Press Start 3 in May. And, they always try to one-up each other because they're bad guys. They're evil. So they will work together, and then they don't work together because they're trying to, swerve on each other. And it's just something, because even a lot of people that are around them, it's like, man, you guys have a lot in common. Like, you guys got to be brothers or a tag or something. Like, a lot of people see that these guys have something in common, and maybe that's why they click and unclick so much. But even then, Gustavo showing power and prowess, double clothesline, and picking up one of them and throwing him into the other person, beating an MFer with another MFer, like what people say, is something that's just crazy. The only time they would slow Gustavo down was when they would jump him. And then they would pull each other off and try to get their own licks in, and then somehow Gustavo would power out of it and still take care of business. That's the intensity that C3 likes. You know, it's not like, oh, okay, I don't have a fighting chance. I'm going to fight because I have the chance. That's a bar. Definitely a big difference. Definitely a big difference. Oh, okay, that's interesting. But yeah, anyway, the end came where TDG, he hit the, I don't know if he calls it the pedigree, but I'm going to call it the pedigree. He hit the pedigree on Gustavo, and as soon as he was about to get the victory, Jay Leon did a springboard swanton. I know I'm saying it wrong. Interrupted the pin, threw out TDG, and took the victory for himself. So obviously, Jay Leon is the victor, but I don't think the war is over between him and TDG. Like, I think, honestly, if the roles were reversed, I think that TDG was would have did the same thing. And that's why a lot of people have that dynamic that these two men, they have something in common. They have something in common as far as wrestling is. Jay Leon. So shout out to Jay Leon. But I feel like TDG, I can't say that with an accent, TDG. I think that they have unfinished business with each other. So we'll see. You know, sometimes people start off as bitter rivals and they come up being the best friends, or sometimes the best tag team champions of all time. So yeah, the comments are crazy, Raphael. Next match was the Cobra, the Elite Warrior, versus the professional Tony Thunder. Now, Tony Thunder came in there already talking about, man, this dude is like a final boss. He called him Akuma, he called him Ghastly from Pokemon, he called him a lot of things, and he was like, you know what, he's like, I'm going to get murked. What's that meme of the person that's in the fire and then the person says, I'm in danger? That's how Tony was saying. He called the Boyardis, and I have been laughing since. The Cobra, he has been a guy that ever since coming to C3 has made a name for himself, and he is also one of the highly touted guys in the locker room that people want to face. A lot of people like, hey, I want to lock up with Cobra. Me and Cobra gotta go. What is Cobra doing? Have to face him. So, and I tell Cobra this all the time. Doug Cobra. I always tell Doug Cobra this all the time. Like, hey, bro, like, so many people want to fight you. And I brag a little bit because I faced this man twice. We traded victories. We definitely got to have that tiebreaker. So I guess I'm on that list of people who want to face the Cobra, because that guy, he is it. He should be on people's television screen. He should be a more popular name. He's very popular on the independent scene, but he needs to be on television. Like, people, like, there is nobody like him. And as far as wrestling is concerned, that's something that's very, very rare. People look at something and they go viral, and they'll change their whole character, their whole moveset to work with that. Ever since I have known the Cobra, even the do-rag days, you know what I'm talking about if you watch this video, this man has been 100. The only time he has changed is when he has grew with growth and knowledge and expertise with the striking and everything he's done. So I'm going to give him his flowers, because, and even the professional, like, I've never heard that name before in my life, and the way that he can even do something like that and then even give a fighting chance. You know, some people probably wouldn't even want to face the Cobra. You know what I'm saying? But still, Tony was shook, but he brought the fight. Yes, he did. So even with that, Tony tried, and then he would go in the pockets where he would actually, like, seem like he was going to win. The Cobra, being the Cobra, he was kicking him everywhere, man. He sat him in the crowd, he kicked him and stuff like that. But Tony kept fighting. And stuff like that. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough. Cobra hit him with the forearm strike, and you can kind of tell after he did pin him for the victory, he respected it, because the Cobra was telling everybody before the show that he didn't respect Tony Thunder. So I think that Tony did earn his respect. And like I said, outside of people wanting to face the Cobra, to get his respect is another thing as well. You know, this guy always has to prove something. He feels like he has something to prove. So I think that it was very, very good. But his celebration was short-lived, because the C3 Urban Culture Champion, Marcelo Spady, came out and he attacked Cobra. From what I'm hearing is he was upset because basically felt like, you know, the Cobra wasn't taking him seriously, even though the Cobra was there at Press Start 3 and Spade wasn't there, and Spade still hasn't explained why he wasn't there and stuff. So I don't know if it's mind game, I don't know what it is, but he laid Cobra out in the middle of the ring. So knowing the Cobra, he's not gonna take that, and he's gonna handle business. So, you know, to have a target on your back from the Elite Warrior is never a good thing. It's never a good thing. Speedy Spade, right? That's what we're gonna call him, Speedy Spade. So, still, third match. Third match was the day Amina Belmont, C3 Ultimate Wrestling Women's Champion Renee Van Peebles, and these women put on. First of all, I want to say that, you know, shout out to Amina for coming out and doing stuff. You know, she's on the rise, being great talent, especially in the Midwest area. And also shout out to Renee Van Peebles. Renee Van Peebles showed up because she already had a chip on the shoulder. She felt like she had something to prove, because at the end of the day, she felt like nobody had her back. I mean, even when she came out to go against Amina, the ARC came out and she told them to go to the back. You know, like, she was seething, like she was upset. She wanted to show that she can do this. You know, that's not a side that we usually see from Renee Van Peebles. Renee has handled business by herself without her brethren, but at the same time, I do think like she has something to prove. With that being said, especially with, like, you know, Mr. Young hurting her wrist and a whole bunch of stuff, you know, she wasn't able to wrestle at Press Start 3. So, you know, to be out for so many months and not wrestle for C3, you could tell that was really like messing with her. Now, first things first, I'm going to say this. These two women really mirrored each other. There's not a lot of women, I can say, that can mirror Renee's intensity and trying to get the job done. You get what I'm saying? There's not a lot of women that can do that. Some women, they come in, they're like, hey, we want to do it by the books. Like, nah, these women got down and dirty when it came to the wrestling show between them two. I think that this was a great match. I think it was a very great match. I think Renee showed why she's the best, going against a rising star in Amina and going the distance with her, and then Amina showing up and then acting like this is not her first time in C3, like she's been here for the longest. You know, very great, very talented women. There was a bridging chancery from Amina that was pretty dope. Renee Van Peebles' Northern Lights suplex is just something. It's just a thing of beauty. But that wasn't even enough to take out Amina Belmont. Amina doing springboards and doing things off the ropes, things that I've never seen before. Renee showing more of a power game and stuff like that. Both playing mind games with each other, being upset that the opponent would not stay down for the 3 counts. Amina tried to do a crossbody, something off the top. Renee caught her, slammed her, and then Renee hit her with her next finisher that wasn't the Northern Lights. I want to say it was like a Sister Abigail. It's twisted, let's just say that. And she wins. Great match. Renee retains. Let me say this too. There's a lot of posts, a lot of women wrestlers and people who love women wrestling. There's a lot of posts that say, protect women's wrestling, protect women's wrestling. Women's wrestling needs this. If women's wrestling is that, I'm all for it. I am all for protecting women's wrestling like that. I'm not for protecting a lot of women's wrestling that involves no wrestling. There's a lot of shows, there's a lot of shows, these women, they don't care about their craft. They don't care about the championships. They're dancing, they're drinking, they're doing a whole bunch of stuff. They're doing all of this stuff because people like to see women, and women get a lot of views in wrestling. And it doesn't even matter if they have skill or not. But if they have the caliber of what Amina and what Renee Van Peebles did, by all means, take my money. I will protect it. I will wear the shirts. I will do all of that. But it's rare. And it's no shade to nobody else, but you know, it's shade. It's a little shade so you guys can, you know, stop feeling this heat. But still, that's the women's wrestling that needs to be promoted more in the independent wrestling scene. You can dance, you can have jokes, you can do all of that stuff, but when that bell ring, what do you bring? Bars. Like, I'm just telling you, man, I'm just straight bars. But still, that is great wrestling right there. Let's say kayfabe. Running. Yeah, I see. What up, kayfabe? Yeah, C3 is not sad. She was definitely locked in yellow. Amina could have been the first kick. Yeah, I think so, because usually that's how Renee finishes her matches with Northern Lights. That's how she usually finishes her matches, with the Northern Lights. Right, take the money. That's the women's wrestling. That's the wrestling that a lot of women back in the day was fighting for women to have an opportunity to wrestle, to show that they can wrestle as great or better than the men can. That's the kind of wrestling I champion for women's wrestling, because that's the kind of wrestling I would say women's wrestling is actual wrestling, right? Because a lot of people are not. It's way different, and a lot of these women who do share those posts like protect women's wrestling, they're not doing the stuff that they did. They're not even doing they're not even doing an eighth of what they did and what they brought to the ring. So shout out to both women. I think both women should be proud. Renee Van Peebles is still the longest reigning champion, not just women's champion, but champion in C3. Shout out to you from Toronto. I don't want to misspell your name, but I also don't want to look too hard because I'm driving. After intermission with the raffle, some people won prizes and things like that. It was Team Board versus Team C3. Team C3, which consisted of me, Kenny Nine, and the ARC, the C3 Ultimate Wrestling Tag Team Champions, versus the Board. The Board consisted of Mr. Young, Kevin Xander, Nameless, and the C3 Urban Culture Champion Marcelo Spade. Now I'm gonna sit here and I'm not gonna sit here and act like it was like a great thing to be jumped at the beginning before the bell rung, because the ARC, and I can think of many names of what the ARC stands for at this point, they left me and Kenny hanging at the beginning of the match, and we got jumped. They let us get jumped. They allowed us to get jumped because they sitting here talking about, oh, well, y'all got it. It's y'all company. It's y'all company. Before the bell rings. I don't know what this was, but like I said, man, I'm still bruised up. I'm still hit. I'm still hurt. I'm still hurt. I'm tired, and I play around with children and stuff like that in the locker room. Whatever CM Punk said to Young Bucks, that just didn't sound right, but we're going to keep it moving. Anyway, still, it was just like by the time we came to and the bell rung, now they still outside playing and stuff like that. It was just frustrating, and it's still frustrating the more I think about it, because it's just like, that's not how we handle business. You know, it literally was like life or death for their C3 careers, and they were sitting there playing because they felt like what point they had to prove was bigger than this actual match that could have had them stripped of the titles and not even wrestling for C3, which is one of the best companies around. It's the crazy part. Anyway, Xander started popping off, and he thought that he could just body slam me and be okay. I'm literally king of body slams. Like, body slams wake me up. Just like when you try to headbutt a Samoan, and the Samoan is looking at you like, how dare you, I'm Samoan. That's how suplexes wake me. I mean, not suplexes, body slams wake me up. So it didn't matter to all the other stuff of getting beat up by 3 minutes, stuff like that. That just woke me up. So took care of Xander for a little bit, and then Kenny was working his magic, and then eventually the Board doing the Board things. They started overpowering and stuff like that, and Xander being a tall guy, I give him that. He's very tall. You can't take that away from him. You know, we chop trees. But anyway, just when he thought he had the upper hand going off the ropes, Miles Mercer pulled the ropes down, and basically Xander went over. Then that accumulated into a brawl to the outside, to where Kenny Nine, he did a flip over the top rope. When he did that unfortunately accumulated to me, Mercer and Larkin not seeing eye to eye, and they got mad that Kenny fell on him. And while we was arguing, that's when Kenny got eliminated by Nameless. And you know, I've been trying to hit up Kenny and try to apologize to him for the situation, because he definitely didn't deserve it. And I did apologize to him, but I do know that he's very frustrated with a lot of things that led up to the end of the match. So I will say that. After that, the ARC wanted to be more active into the match. They got the elimination from Spade. Spade did get the better of both of these men. Mind you, they're the C3 Ultimate Wrestling Tag Champions, so maybe they would have gelled a little bit better. They would have took them out a little earlier, but they didn't. But when they did, they did. They hit their finisher on Spade. The Board didn't seem to want to interrupt the pin, probably because they didn't want the Cobra to be involved in their match because of what Spade did earlier. Nameless and Larkin locked up. Larkin was like making fun of Nameless height and stuff like that. Larkin was so confident until he wasn't. Nameless started just showing what a brawl is and why nobody knows what he can bring to the table. He started becoming a little one-sided against Larkin, and Larkin is a big dude. And then eventually Nameless picked him up with ease and hit him with his finisher and eliminated Larkin, which shocked me and Mercer. And then he picked him up for a package like it was nothing. And like, you know what a Sonic Spin Dash is? That's how Larkin looked. After that, me and Xander, we started locking up a little bit. Xander started doing evil stuff or whatever like that. And then eventually what happened was, when I looked at the clip, Mercer hit my foot and did a blind tag. When the blind tag happened and when I hit, Xander started punching Mr. Young and Nameless. That's when Mercer pinned Xander with his version of the zigzag. So it's 2-on-2. It's getting close. It's getting close. Brawl started happening, and then eventually when I'm brawling with Nameless and Nameless was taking care of business and stuff, I'm not gonna lie, he got the best of me. Mercer eliminated Mr. Young because Mr. Young tried to go for a clothesline, and then Mercer, went for a zigzag and won. Nameless, but before that, the reason why I was really taken out was because Nameless was trying to go after me, but then I pushed Mercer out the way. Really was fighting for C3. Really was fighting for C3. And that's what happened with that. That's how I was taken out of the picture, that flying headbutt from Nameless. But Mercer was holding his own until he wasn't. And then Nameless basically packaged power drove Mercer, and then I couldn't save him. Then it was me and Nameless at the end. Tried to do what I could, and I just couldn't do it. The dude just kept getting up. By the time me and him took each other both out, Renee Van Peebles came out, and she got retribution on Xander and Mr. Young by hitting them with nunchucks. And honestly, I saw the nunchucks, and I was like, I need my company back. So I took the nunchucks, and I took out Nameless. So C3 is back. So I'm happy for that. Now, main event time, Joseph Ira Credit versus D'Angelo Steele. Very good match. Saw spears. I saw people getting hit on the apron. I saw them one-ups. I saw a lot of intensity and things like that. And it's a great match. And I'm slightly rushing because I need to go to work. But great match. And Joseph Ira Credit shows why he's the BIG of the 313. He beat the champion with a big ending, and he won. He finally hit the mountaintop. And it's crazy because last year a lot of people was like trying to make fun of him and try to treat him a certain way, but he promised that he was going to be a C3 Ultimate Wrestling champion, just like he said he would be a tag champion, and he winded up hitting the mountaintop. D'Angelo Steele showed why he's a champion and why he is the best, and he is a pretty psychopath, and it's a great match. So like I said, it was a great show. I'm glad you guys were rocking with me with that. If you guys want to see it, watch it on the Critically Drinking channel. You can watch the whole show in its entirety. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.